I mean, you look at like films like the Zeitgeist, where they show the overlapping stories of a virgin birth and
so many times
throughout so many different creation stories.
It's like it just keeps happening. I'm going, man, this must be the Avatar. He could be the Avatar. And when you look even deeper, for example, Jesus's grandmother was also a virgin birth. So the virgin birth now has Mary, and then Mary has the virgin birth of Yeshua. So it just seems to be something is going on here throughout time and throughout history where this story just keeps popping up over and over again, always coming out through this virgin birth and this person becoming like this ascended master avatar, which is pretty interesting, And so you see this across different civilizations, across different times, and it makes you scratch your head and go, wow. Now, when he reappears in a biblical text, it's at the age of 32, the Bible picks up and says, I call my son out of Egypt. That's what the Bible says. God is saying, I'm calling my son out of Egypt. He shows up riding it on the back of a donkey in Jerusalem and proclaiming himself to be the Messiah. Now, some of the words that Jesus spoke, I believe, were remixed and changed because the Bible was not written in real time. I think this is where a lot of people don't understand how the Bible became to be. They think somebody was running around, say that one more time, Jesus, I just want to get that last sentence. It didn't happen like that. The Bible was written long after he was already gone, long after all those people were gone. The Bible was written from 100 AD to 900 AD by followers of who? Hermes. Yes. So now it wasn't even written as a Bible. This was just text that was copied from ancient tablets and papyruses onto parchment paper and then stored inside of vases in caves because they couldn't talk about it anywhere else. And over time, people would discover these vases and put together these papers and then rewrite them and copy them and turn them into what became many books and eventually became a canonized book after they handpicked and curated what they wanted. A lot of the information in that book is all from the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Atrahasis, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Mahabharata, some of the Bhagavad Gita, the Egyptian book of Going Forth by Day. I mean, I can just keep going on and on and on, all these tablets, right? The Code of Hammurabi, and they turned this into a religious text when a lot of it really originally wasn't. It was spiritual enlightenment. Somebody saw, well, if I can remix this a little bit here, a little bit there, wow, I can control the masses with this information. And so the problem that you have with what happened there is that is like a fish inside of a fishbowl, religion. But spirituality is what it was meant for, is like a fish inside of the ocean. And so you can even put the fish bowl in the ocean, but they can't leave the bowl, right? If you put a cap on it, it's going to swim around in the bowl, in the ocean, and never experience the true fullness of what it means to be an ascended being. And so that's why it's so important for us to educate people on what really happened. I believe that these avatars that exist like Yeshua, I believe that they taught an incredible positive message that had been twisted and skewed over time. And I really do believe that we are here to learn this message today and to incorporate it into our lives, and that the return of the Christ is the return of the Christ consciousness. That when Jesus returned, it's not him returning, it's the consciousness returning of the Christ mind. And that comes back in all of us. And by that method, the second coming will return to the planet.
That Christ mind, once embodied in an individual like it was Yeshua, becomes a reference point for knowing what's possible.
Right.
And like you spoke about the fishbowl analogy, it's the same thing with like I think they're fruit flies, where you put a lid on the jar and they only jump a certain height.
Oh, wow.
And it's a certain type of fly. And then the next generation, you take the lid off, they won't go above the height of the jar, even though they can get out. It's genetically encoded to be conditioned to only go to a certain limit.
Conditioned limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you're looking at in religion, conditioned limitations. You're not even taught to ask a question, just have blind faith.
Yeah. And I do believe religion serves a purpose at a certain stage of development.
Yeah.
Like, and I do think it can be very beautiful in that way for a lot of people that without it would probably go down a very deleterious path.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Which is why when I talk on my podcast, I show people, I have a Bible. Look, this is it. I said this, and I have a podcast where I talk about there's good information in this Bible.
Yeah.
You just have to have discernment on what is good and what is not so good, what to use and what to apply.
Like Deuteronomy.
Right. Don't apply Deuteronomy. You'll be in prison. You get castrated and everything, mess around with Deuteronomy.
Yeah. What's up with that? Why? That's crazy. Some of the Old Testament stuff is gnarly.
Oh, it's gnarly, man. It's crazy. It's because It was written by people. See, the Gnostics, you brought up a minute ago, the Gnostics had a very good concept that I truly believe in after really studying the Gnostic texts. The Gnostics in the Nag Hammadi, they come to the conclusion that the biblical text is orchestrated by these Anunnaki gods and not the creator of the universe. And that the same Satan that they're running from is the same entity or energy that has curated this text, and that they're following the same darkness that they're running from. That's the Gnostic summary. And I believe that wholeheartedly after looking and digging deeper and having a talk with a person that just came up to me on the beach one day. I go to the beach for meditations all the time. Guy walks up, and as soon as I looked up, he had a bottle of water he was handing. I knew he was one of the people at the street preachers. I let him talk a little bit. He started telling me about saving me and, giving my life over to Jesus and everything. And he asked me a question. He said, do you know what Satan's about? Because I told him I didn't give my life to Jesus because I believe that God is in me. And he kind of got a little shocked. And he was like, well, you know who Satan is? And I was like, yeah, I know who Satan is. I understand quite intensely what Satan is and what demons are and what darkness is. And he started telling me about Satan. I said, let me ask you a question. Tell me more about this Satan from your perspective. How intelligent is Satan? Now I know the answers to these questions. He's so intelligent. Satan is so smart that he actually is one of the smartest of all the angels. He's not even an angel, he's a cherubim. And everywhere he goes, music follows him. And he's the right hand of God. He's just almost as intelligent as God himself. And he has the power to do this and the power to move through here and contact all these people and communicate in different dark ways and invisible. And I'm like, sounds like a high IQ. He says, yeah. I said, would you say that if you had that ability, it would be one of the highest IQs that probably would exist in the known universe that we know of? Oh, yeah, for sure. I said, okay, interesting. So now in this book, you're saying that Satan is going to follow this word to the letter that's written by man to his own demise. Oh, yeah. I said, I think a being that's that intelligent, that's that whimsical and mystical and diabolic would probably orchestrate this curated text in a way that you would follow him to your own demise. And the guy gasped and he walked away. But it's something you have to consider.
Savage. The dude just wanted to give you some water, and he just screwed his whole reality.
I yanked his belief system out of his body like an astral projection. But these are the things that people don't consider because they don't have any research. Their base knowledge is the Bible, and just the canonized version. What about the Sinai Bible? 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James Version of the Bible. The King James Version of the Bible is much newer, and it was written by King James. I mean, the guy was a pedophile, number one, known pedophile. His number one book isn't the Bible. His number one book is his satanic book, is his number one book. His demonic book and witchcraft books are better, sell better than the Bible. So you're talking about a person into demonism and witchcraft is the person that orchestrated the King James Version of the Bible. It's just like, come on. I mean, we got to do better research. We have to know. And there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that doesn't even exist, like hell was added by Rome. The rapture was added by James Darby.